Hey guys, we are at one of our favorite places in all the world. We're in Redding, California at Bethel Church. Pastor Bill Johnson is with us today. Get ready, it's going to be an awesome, awesome show. Pastor Bill, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah,
we love you,
glad
appreciate
I get you. Yeah.
So Pastor Bill, we want to get started talking about what it means to experience the presence of the Lord, specifically that word experience. What does it mean to experience the Lord?
Well, it's like any encounter that you have. It's contact. It's the fact that He's here and you realize it. That encounter, for me, increases as my affection for Him increases. Something opens up in me that makes me more perceptive of Him. He can invade at any time, and He can make you aware of Him. He sovereignly does that throughout history, throughout Scripture. You have those moments where the Spirit of God falls on somebody like Saul on the way to Tarsus, so you have those kinds of sovereign invasions, but there's the more constant encounters are the ones that are brought on by hunger. And when that hunger doesn't lead to frustration, but it leads to affection, then there's great discovery, because you open up, you just open up. I don't know how else to say it, cellularly. Every part of you is aware of God, and that encounter with Him just recalibrates everything that you think, everything you value, everything. It's like hungering for something and then having absolute perfect fulfillment and more.
Wow.
It's above and beyond. He's the exceedingly great one.
So can you feel the presence of God?
Yeah.
Okay, and
absolutely.
So to simplify that, what would you tell the people? And what does that mean? When we say we feel the presence of God, and what are the different ways we can feel the presence of God?
I can feel tangibly.
Yeah.
I can't say it's always been true, but since I've become more free in my affection towards Him, and where I have learned that through the years is in worship, is to truly worship, to really draw near, to minister to Him. Something wakes up in me. As you see Him, you become like Him. So there's this encounter that's transformational, and so I can feel Him, in my heart, in my emotion, in my spirit man, so to speak. I can physically. There are times where it's almost like a silk scarf put over my hands or something. It's that tangible. I would hate to reduce it to just an emotional or physical tangible feeling, but I'm also thankful for it.
Right.
I don't. If I don't feel that, I don't assume He's not with me, because He promised He'd be with me forever. So that's not the point. I don't need that to feel good about myself or about life. But I'm thankful when He wakens those parts of our life up, where we have this knowing that is more than a concept. It's a knowing that's a burning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You mentioned being more free in your affections. What does that mean?
Well, you have children. You know what it is to, when they're first born. You look at them. You can't explain the love that you have for that child. I can't do anything but make a mess and cry, and yet you do anything in the world for them. You're just drawn. It's the same sort of thing, except it's for one that's so completely, totally perfect. And it's and there's no fear in the relationship. It's completely liberating, totally inviting and free. And it's that affection. I don't know how you describe love, but it's that part of love that that you are pouring out for someone else, and it's that sense that you have a value for them, and to have that for the Lord, for the presence of the Lord, for the manifest presence of God is the most incredible thing, because it teaches you.
Right.
It doesn't teach me here first. It teaches me here first. And later I get it here, but it brings me into, my heart can go where my head can't fit. So it'll draw me into places in the Lord that I have this confidence about Him, but I can't yet explain it. And then over time, He helps me to understand. Yeah.
And then to articulate it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. When it's appropriate. Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes you're experiencing something within, then it goes here, but sometimes it's difficult to articulate what you're experiencing, right?
Yeah. One of the big things for us is through wisdom to find the language for what we experience, because then you give people a handle for something. You kind of have a slot to put it in. It's if you can find the language for things, then it helps all of us to be able to more fully embrace what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what about like a baby Christian, somebody that's new to the faith? What would you say to them so they can know that they can have this experience too? Because there's probably people watching that think, oh, that's for them, people that have been serving God for a long time.
Yeah.
Everybody can experience it.
They're probably more open to it than we are. You know, I was just,
So true.
yeah, it's just this woman at the church. She's been a heroin addict for 30 years, and you just can't quiet her down. She's been saved, and she just is the most excited person on the
And everyone
planet.
knows it.
And everybody knows it, and
Mm-hmm.
and her life is just so dramatically changed and transformed. I would say, it's easy to say, but don't seek the experience. Just seek the person. Seek
Right.
the person. Don't evaluate how you're doing. That's a big thing. I don't have what they have. I'll stop it. Just don't do that. Just go after him, and let him help you in the journey to experience what you're ready for. And
Yeah.
it's a big mistake for me to judge my experience by yours. It's better for me just to go after God. And
What's that lead to? That comparison. What does that lead to in us?
you always end up with the short end of the stick, because you're always admiring somebody else's. I saw recently we compare our everyday life to somebody else's highlight reel,
Yeah.
and that's what happens is you hear the testimony, and of course we're just going to share the great thing that God has done, and then you compare yourself. You always end up less than. It just doesn't do us any good. There's no. It's a false humility. It creates a shame and a false humility. False humility will keep you from your destiny. It's just not. It's not a God thing. And so the best thing to do is just to trust Him, and to passionately pursue Him.
Right.
And then just watch what happens. And because all of us are different. He doesn't touch me the same way as others. Another factor. Sometimes the Lord is moving so powerfully, and for illustration's sake, half the people in the room feel something happening. The other half don't. Mm-hmm. Does that mean they're in sin? Does that mean they're out of touch with God? No. Oftentimes it means that God is touching them through inspired thought. He's ministering to them differently. Uh-huh. And as long as they're comparing themselves with this guy who's weeping and this guy who's laughing, they're going to miss what God's doing, because God is giving them inspired thought. He's teaching them insights, concepts, perception, things that just stick with you forever.
Right.
And if you don't know the moment you're in, you can abort a moment because you didn't get what you thought you were going to get. And it's just devastating. So it's just best to keep it simple.